Hello, welcome to Dr. Bill 360. I'm Dr. Bill, and today we'll be continuing the topic of emotional medicine to try and deepen the emotional healing process. Joining me again is our special guest, Sara Osman, who works in emotional medicine. So, Sara, it's great to have you. It's great to have you back with us.
It's great to be here. I'm very excited.
Yes. All right. So, Sara, in part one, you share some powerful insights on emotional medicine and its impact. All right, we talked about your background and motivation for being in emotional medicine, how suppressing emotions can impact health. You shared your own personal healing journey, some practical healing approaches like journaling and self care, as well as some challenges and barriers to emotional healing. Is there something from the last episode that maybe just sticks out that you'd like to reiterate, or should we just dive right in?
Let's dive right in.
Okay. All right. So,
Yeah.
for those who haven't seen the first episode, you can just follow the link that I'll put up here and let's go. So, Sara, how can someone start integrating emotional healing practices into their daily routine, or is that something that they can even do?
Yeah, it's very possible they can do. So we'll go back again to journaling, and there's also meditation, and both improve self awareness and emotional clarity. Yet each one can um, work differently according to each thinking style, right? So journaling is best for deep thinkers, introverts, and goal oriented people,
Okay.
while meditation is ideal for extroverts, big picture thinkers, and emotionally sensitive people that need grounding. The best approach would be to do journal in the morning so
Okay.
you can set your intentions for the day, and to meditate in the evening so you can clear your mind from all the intrusive thoughts and relax so you can have a better quality of sleep. Another
Okay.
approach or another practice that you can do is mindful awareness, and that is especially important when you have triggers. So a very simple yet very powerful exercise that I like to do is the 5 4 3 2 1 grounding exercise. Okay,
Okay. What's
so
that?
this is how it goes. So when you feel emotionally triggered and your emotions are starting to spiral, okay, something triggered you, what you can do is to become present and to have that mindful awareness is to look at 5 things. Okay, 5 things to look or 5 things to see. So I like to do this by labeling things with their colors. The rarer the color, the more focus and the more present you become. So 5 things. I want to look at 5 things in my environment that are with the color green. So that's one, that's two, that's three, that's four, that's five.
So when do I
Okay.
do this now? When do I do this?
That is when you feel that there's a lot of intrusive thoughts, or you're feeling that you're not present, or
Okay.
you feel
Okay.
triggered by emotions and your emotions are spiraling, something triggered you. Okay. The four is four things, sorry, you can touch. So for example, here I have my pencil case. I'm touching the pencil case. It's rough, whether it's rough or smooth, whether it's bumpy or like velvety. I'm saying these things quite fast, but take your time and really focus on your visual and your sensations and
Okay.
everything. Then 3 things you can hear. Like you're sitting here right now, the cars in the street, the birds chirping,
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
sound
Yeah.
environment, and so on. 2 things you can smell. So, for example, an easy one, if you're sitting at your desk, is to take your coffee and take a deep breath and smell it. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
I usually have a little oil perfume here. Either I open it and smell it, or if I have it on, just to get yourself back to the present. And one thing you can taste, I don't know if you noticed by now, but I always have water next to me. Water doesn't have
Oh,
flavor or anything, but it's a way for
okay.
me to if it's cool, if it's warm, and so on. So
So what do
it's
you call
simple.
this? What do you call this five? It's just not five things. What do you call it? What is this?
It's a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercises. So 5 things you can see, 5 things you see, 4 things you touch, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, and 1 thing you taste.
So this is to keep you from like jumping on somebody or going off or how
Yeah,
do you
this
know when
can,
you how do you know when you need to use it? I mean, because you don't know, do you?
if you're mindful, you can know. Okay. So you heard many times people say, I'm getting an anxiety attack.
Okay,
So if you're aware when you're getting that anxiety attack, this would be an
okay,
amazing exercise to do at that time.
yeah. It sounds.
Sometimes when I'm
I've never
walking,
heard of this. I've never heard of this.
it's very common. It's a very common exercise, but yeah, it needs to come
Now,
your way.
now, when I was in the military, my supervisor,
Yeah,
when he got upset, he would start counting though. He would count. He would count out loud. You know,
yeah,
10, 9, 8, 7,
absolutely.
and I'm going like, oh my God. Me and the guys, we're going like, oh my God, he's counting, and we'll
Yeah,
start 10, 9. We'll start counting, and that just spin him up even more. So I know it was not right. It was not right for us to do that, but something like
so
that, because he was doing it. We're like, what is he doing? He was getting upset. He was trying to gain control, so he was counting. I know it was not
yeah,
right for us to do that, but
yeah. You didn't know better, and that many people use that exercise as well. It's very common. But the great thing about this is that this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, sometimes you can take one part of it. So, for example, when I'm walking outside or waiting for the bus, and I become aware that my mind is just taking over with the thoughts
uh-huh.
and I'm not feeling present, I love using um, the 5 things, 5 things
I
that
wish we
I
could give it
see.
like a name or something.
It
You
is
know.
called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercise.
Oh, that's the name of it, huh?
Yeah, that's the name of it. Okay.
I
So,
like
for
that.
example, yeah, when I'm at my desk, I like to close my eyes and to listen to the sounds around me. So sometimes
I like
either
that.
you can do the whole exercise if you're really feeling triggered, or you can pick take pieces of it and do them individually.
I know a great. I used to have this. I've mentioned to you before, Sadhguru,
Mm-hmm.
the mystic. He used to talk about the difference between being angry and mad.
Mm-hmm.
About he said, don't give them the power to make you angry, and definitely you don't want to be mad because by definition, if you're mad, you're technically insane. And so there's a line. There's a line between being angry and being mad. And if you cross that line too many times into being mad, he says sometimes, maybe you don't come back the next time. You don't know why you're always like this. Right.
Yeah,
So he said be
it,
careful about crossing that line. Maybe exercises like this can help with that as
absolutely.
well.
The exercises like this help with you. Anger is a natural emotion, but it's healthy to express it.
Right.
So if I'm angry with you, I would come and say, I feel angry and I would like to express how I feel and why I feel that way. Mad or another word for it is rage.
Okay.
Rage is different. Rage is when you lose complete control out of your emotions and just scream and scream and scream and scream and scream and say hurtful words and you have no consideration for others or yourself or anything. So that is the difference. And although anger is a healthy feeling emotion, just like happiness, sadness, um, and everything. But this kind of exercise can help when you're angry, so it doesn't go to rage or mad, right? It can
Yeah.
help when people have a lot of anxiety attacks.
You know
Like,
something I don't like. You know something I don't like though.
yeah.
Is when something like that is happening. A person is telling you how they feel, and you find you need to explain something. They didn't ask you for an explanation. They don't need you to try and fix something. You know what I mean? You when you're talking to
Yeah.
someone and yeah, but if you and they're trying to explain it away, you know what's wrong with that, or how do you fix that?
So I didn't get the question. Can you?
So, for example, you are now telling me, okay, I'm angry, right?
Mm,
So, for me listening, it's my job to kind of listen, not try
mm,
and fix it by trying to explain something away to you,
that's right.
or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
It's
know
not
what you
my
mean.
job to
So
do that. So, how do you handle that? Because the person's not listening to you. He's trying to make an excuse or trying to fix something that can't be. You let me tell you what I'm feeling.
yeah. So first of all, the word fixing, we don't use fixing. We use holding space, right?
Holding space.
Holding space. So when someone comes to you expressing how they feel, many times people, as you said, have this need to fix, to give you suggestions, to talk over you and give you a suggestion. You can fix it this way, you can do that. Many times people don't come to you because they want you to fix something. Many times people come to you because they want to be heard. They want to take it out of their system. All they want is to be heard and acknowledged. They want to take it out of their system, and when they calm down, allow them, give them the space to ask you if they need something. So I heard one time someone a quote, or people talk about this a lot, that many people listen to reply. They don't listen, they don't hear you to reply to you. They don't hear you to listen to you.
Okay.
And that is when you find this kind of, okay, I come to you, I want to tell you something, and you keep telling me, why don't you do this? And why don't you do that? And why don't you, okay? But so the best thing for the person that wants to express themselves, for example, I want to come to you to express myself. I would tell you, hi, Bill, I want to talk to you about something, but I would really appreciate if you could just listen to me.
Uh.
Okay? And your part would be, okay, I would listen to you.
Okay.
And this way, everybody will get what they need. You won't feel the need to give unsolicited advice or fix something. And the other person will feel heard and validated.
I've never heard anybody. I've never heard anybody come to me and say, "Look, I just need you to listen." You know.
People
I
are
don't.
not aware they can do that. It is part of healthy communication, and most people aren't aware of their ways of communication.
Yeah.
They were In society, we weren't taught how to communicate. We were taught how to suppress. We were taught how to hold everything for ourselves. And when we communicate, we don't prepare the space to communicate.
Yeah.
So when we don't prepare the space for active listening,
Yeah.
someone that is aware, someone also from the other side, if you're aware that from how the person is speaking, that they need to be heard more than to be you fixing something for them, that is also very important. So awareness is important from both sides. Maybe the person isn't aware that they need to ask to be heard. But if a person that is aware that sometimes people express themselves because they have the need to be heard, will hold the space for them.
Now hold the space. Hold the space. Tell me again now. Okay, what are we saying? Hold the space.
Like when I was speaking right now, you were actively listening to me. That is holding the space for me.
Now, who's doing the holding? Is it you who talking, or me who's listening?
You who's listening.
Okay. Yeah, I call this well, in one sense, it's kind of like active listening, because I believe a person should be a great listener, not a good listener. Okay, because I've said it a number of times in some of the other forums I've been in. People are telling you their experiences, their stories. And I said, wow, when people are telling you their stories, in those stories are their experience. They're telling you about their values, their beliefs, you know, they're telling you all of it. And that's explaining their behavior. So if you're not
Mhm.
willing to listen to it, how are you going to get it?
Who are the people that hold the space? Spouses hold the space. Families hold the space. Leaders hold the space. Colleagues hold the space for each other. We have opportunities to hold the space for people. Parents can hold the space for their children.
So while I'm
Children can.
holding this space, what am I trying to accomplish?
You're active listening. You're just listening actively. That's all.
Okay.
You said it. You're just listening and absorbing without judgment, so
Well, that's a
people
hard
can
one.
feel.
That's a hard one,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. So people can feel comfortable and safe to share with you what they want to share with you, and to be heard and validated.
Yeah. Man, again, it reminds me of one of these guys I went to. I had took a class with from Africa, and he was telling me about the elders and how when the person is speaking, they kind of put one leg, like if I'm my left and right leg, maybe I'm comfortable standing on my left leg, so I would take my right leg and I would put my foot, the bottom of my foot, against my knee or close to it. So it's at an angle. It's off the ground. So everyone actually can see that this person right here is the one that's talking.
Interesting.
This person here is very clear who's talking, right?
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
when my foot go down, I'm finished talking.
Yeah, that can actually decrease interruptions. We
That's
can hold the
interesting.
space for this person when he puts his foot down. That means he said everything they had to say, and now someone else can put their foot up and speak.
Well, that's interesting. I've never seen
Yeah,
anybody actually do it, but this is what he
I've never seen it either.
he
Yeah,
suggested. What do you think about something like that? I mean, I know we don't do it. It can be some version of it. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. I don't know if we can do it, but there is now, with everything being online, there is the digital raise your hand.
Yeah, I've
So
seen that.
yeah, that is for the next person that wants to speak. They raise their hand, and when that person is done, they go off, and the person that is. So it's a modern way, or a way that people don't talk over each other.
So so far we talked about, okay, how can we start integrating these practices. Now, I'm a person that does journaling and meditation uh, because journaling gives a person a time to reflect on the things that have happened. And I believe during this reflection period is when the growth part happens. You know, for example, maybe I'm biased against something or someone or something. I have to literally write down what's going on and what happened and then examine it, reflect on it, and say, wow, I see it. And so journaling is good for reflection and growth. And but I used to use meditation, especially when I'm doing a lot of heavy work. Right, when I take the time to meditate, it's kind of like lifting and putting things on the shelf. Or I remember one analogy was even this was Headspace I was using. So they use a lot of these animations sometimes. It depends on what you're what you're doing. Maybe before you get into the meditation, there might be a little short something. And I remember one short animation was there's a guy on the curb. There's a highway and there's lots of cars just passing by. And those things that are passing by are all the things, the busy things, the issues, all of those things. And the animation was like, why do you feel the need to have to try and cross that street? Just let that stuff go by.
Yeah.
So
So what the mind does, it the mind has thousands and millions of thoughts during the day. So what happens with journaling is that we kind of dump all those thoughts. Okay? If they're negative thoughts, we dump them. If they're ideas and positive thoughts, we write them down so they can empty some space for more positive things. And when we dump, we empty the space so we can rewrite the story and put in the thoughts that we want to put in, okay, which are the ideas and the positive thoughts. So journaling, there's styles of journaling.
yeah, okay.
Some people like to journaling, like some people, for example, aren't comfortable with writing. I met a lady recently. She said she has, because she was left-handed and was forced to become right-handed, um, her handwriting is very slow and she can't even read it sometimes. So there's
Oh,
audio journaling,
there's what?
okay? There
Oh,
is audio journaling, like
yeah.
recording yourself
Okay.
journaling,
Okay.
okay? Some people, for example, prefer to draw something. Journaling can be,
Okay. Okay.
also like adaptable to every person's personality, okay, and preferences. Like, for example, some of the things when I do my coaching, is draw it, draw your emotions.
Mm.
Even if you take a piece of paper and just scribble it like that with the pen,
Whoa.
then put the pen down and look at that. Then write down how did that scribble make you feel. Another way could be take a piece of paper, draw a shape and give it a color. Circle, red circle, black square, blue triangle. And then take it and also look at it. And it needs a little bit of reflection to choose to go. It needs for you to go within, see the shape mentally, feel it, and draw it, and then find the color for it. And then when you take it out on paper, you empty that space, you reflect in it, and whatever shows up for you while you're reflecting on the shape that you do, you write it down. Some people write very easily. Journaling
I
is
like that what
different
you
than
I like what you were just saying there, but how much um I don't want to call it interruption or intervening, but you just let it be, and if they write, they write. Do you push anything? Hey, what was that? I didn't see you write anything, or do you just leave it?
this is something they do at their independent time, and then after that, their own personal time. After that, if they care to share, that's a different story, and then we can explore further.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of good things here, but we do have to move to the next segment,
Yeah.
or maybe
There's
not.
just, maybe there's just one thing. There is just one thing, that another practice that is very important to mention here, which is self-care. Self-care is very important, and the beautiful thing about it is that you can do it anywhere. So, for example, you can do self-care at home. Self-care, like having a fixed or creating a morning routine and starting your day with it, is a very important thing for how the quality of your day, because the first thing you prioritize is yourself. Okay, then either you can include light exercises or a gratitude journal in your morning routine,
Ooh,
or you
gratitude
can,
journal.
yeah, gratitude journaling. So you can, like, light exercise is different than you going to the gym. This is like a 10 minutes, 5 minutes stretch in your home. That is something that you can do daily with deep breathing and stretching to release the tension in your body. A
Yeah.
gratitude journal is about writing 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for. So you can include it in your morning routine, or you can, set other times during the day to give you that grounding even during the day. The
You know,
other
interesting.
thing,
Even you mentioned that. Let me see. Do I have it here? Can I see it? I have written something down for three things I'm grateful for, but it's been there for almost a year. Right.
mm,
Let me see. What did I write? Health was number one for me.
mhm,
Uh, ability to work
mhm.
and oh, PhD progress. So I guess you can tell that's when it was happening. I was really needing it,
Okay.
And so
So you would
you know, I look over there. But you're saying every day or when you need it or
every day would be great. Every day would be great. 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. I'm grateful for the air I breathe. I'm grateful I woke up this morning. I'm grateful that I'm surrounded by loving people. Just to
um
keep that sensation of gratitude daily in your life.
yeah, but this I keep bringing up stuff from military though. We had this thing where when I was on submarines, right? Submarines are basically metal, and when equipment vibrates and taps on the hull, it sends sounds out into the ocean, and people can track us, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so we have rubber sound mounts in between the machinery and the hull when we mount the equipment. But sometimes when we're painting, people paint over the rubber, right? So
Mm,
when you paint over the rubber, the machine to the hull, the sound goes right around the rubber and goes to the hull. We call those sound shorts, right? And we used to have this thing where they say, find me 3 sound shorts per watch. So when you said, three things, for some reason I had this flashback, and you can't find 3 sound shorts every watch. So sometimes we may have 5 or 6, and we hold, right? And
mm,
we only give 3. You only ask for 3. I have 6, but I'm only sharing 3.
mm.
I don't know if I can get to 3 every day.
You
Maybe
can get to see every day.
maybe one,
There's so
maybe
many
one.
things. I'm grateful for my senses. I'm
Okay,
grateful for the beauty in front of me, the
okay,
create. I'm grateful that my family is safe. I'm grateful that I
okay,
am sane and healthy. I'm grateful for this water that I drink. I'm grateful I
okay.
can I'm grateful I can hear. There's
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I'm
yeah.
grateful. You know, when you're even grateful for your equipments,
Okay.
you get
See,
me?
that's
I'm grateful that in this age of technology, I have a mobile and I have a laptop that helps me work and reach out to the world.
yeah.
I'm
So
grateful
so
for
like
that.
what you're doing is kind of demonstrating or showing. Yeah, it's there. It's right in front of you.
Exactly.
That would be something great to like start out certain types of meetings with before you even get into let's go around. Give me one thing you're grateful for. You know,
Yeah,
uh,
it is.
that would be interesting.
Yeah. And then the
So
other thing, the other
okay,
place where we need, and it is suggested and advised to take care of yourself is at work.
oh yeah,
The work environment has a lot of its own triggers, has a lot of pressure, has deadlines. So
yeah,
what you
yeah.
can in your work environment at work in your office is that you take something that is called micro breaks. Micro breaks are working for half an hour and taking 2 to 3 minutes break. In this break, you can get up and stretch, go to the kitchen, get water. If you work for a whole hour, then take 5 minutes break, go to the loo or
Yeah.
go make yourself a herbal tea. It would be advisable also to like have like some of your favorite herbal teas in your drawer. So every time you take that break, you can go and make yourself a tea. Not every time, but at least once or twice a day. You can do some little stretches because sitting down makes us stiff. So, your shoulders, your back, your hips. And then you can take deep breaths. While you're at your office doing your work, something triggers you, take deep breaths. And it's important also to do like check ins. So you have a deadline and you're nowhere close to that, to finishing this.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
instead of panicking about it, we can do check ins. Because if we spiral into that negative emotion, what's going to happen is we're going to freeze. So we're going to actually not perform as well,
So
right?
what's
So
the
what do
check
I
in?
need?
What's
What
the
do
check in?
I You can ask yourself a couple of questions and then you can ask questions that suit you. How am I feeling? I'm feeling panicked. So what do I need? Maybe I need a break to clear my mind. Maybe I need to go for my lunch break instead of taking my lunch break as a time to do more work. Maybe you need to go for a break.
Yeah.
You need that mental and physical and the fresh air and the food to nourish you so you can come back with a more open mind and actually you can meet your deadline.
Most of us know or have been told, like, even over the last couple of days, I had some issues with my eyes because I do work a lot. And, the ophthalmologist reminded me, about every 50 minutes, 40, 50 minutes, you need to take. I mean, we hear it all the time, but do we do it?
See,
You
the
know what I
thing
mean?
is that we all have those moments of extreme focus, hyper focus, right? And that is good because you get a lot of, you're in your zone, you're getting things done. So let's say you're sitting on your laptop or your desk doing your work for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Okay, no problem. We're not trying to, you know, um, say that there is one way. Sometimes we're really in our zone and we're really being creative and we're really focused, and that is okay and it's beautiful. Yet, when you have that long time sitting on your desk, 1 hour and a half, 2 hours, make sure that you get a nice big break. Do some stretches, go for a 10 to 20 minutes walk. Um, Grab a snack, make sure that you do something to take care of yourself. And another space that is important to take care of yourself is while you're traveling. Travel
I,
has a lot of sitting on the plane, or even if you're traveling by
yeah.
car, a lot of sitting in the car. So it's very important to take care of yourself in that space too. Some people get anxiety when they're traveling. So self-care is very important. So one of the things that is recommended to do box breathing. Box breathing is inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts. It looks like a box because it's all four, four, four. And the inhale isn't 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. That is very important. It keeps you present, first of all, and it relaxes your system. The other thing is that when you're on a flight, you can't go stretching and extending, but you can take a walk when it's safe and appropriate. You can take a walk in the corridor a couple of times, right? When you're driving, make sure like every couple of hours you take a 15-minute break. Go to the loo, maybe there is a snack, bar or something. Take a walk, do some jumping jacks, get that circulation moving. In the plane, a lot of people, their feet swell.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. I use
important.
compression socks. I use compression socks.
That helps too. And what you can also do is that rotate your ankles 5 times
Yeah.
outwards and 5 times inwards. This is all practices of self-care. Another thing you can do, which is very important for people that have anxiety, is to create a playlist where there's soothing music, guided meditations, or inspiring audiobooks and stuff like that.
Yeah. So you're
So
giving us. We've gotten what? So many things, right? The the five.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of it.
Grounding. Yeah,
Five
five,
grounding
four, three,
exercises.
two.
Yeah, and so many things you've given us. I'm gonna have to maybe write these down and maybe in the blog post, see if I can put those all out there. So, so in this next segment, then I'm calling this overcoming resistance to emotional healing. And I'm saying I don't even really know if that's the right thing, how we should describe it.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's okay.
okay, so many people, especially men, and I'm only saying that because I'm a guy, right, may
Yeah.
struggle to acknowledge suppressed emotions. Uh, what some are, what are some practical ways to help someone break through this resistance? So
Mhm,
let me kind of give you my man view of it.
mhm.
So what I mean, like for me, can I even say I'm suppressing emotions? What I mean, can I admit that as a guy? I mean, I learned things growing up, so this is the way I operate, right? Like you learn to suck it up, whatever that means. But is that part of the cost of this emotional healing, right? For guys. So when I think about it, I'm having flashbacks to my early days in the military. Again, here we go, military. So I remember when we were getting ready to deploy overseas, right? We get dressed up in uniform. We get all cleaned up. We go to the airport, right? We hang out with our loved ones, and then when it's time to actually go on the other side and get ready to get on the plane, you know, the long faces, you know, and most of us aren't really even speaking after that. We get on the plane, and for a couple of hours on the plane, you know, we're flying overseas maybe, no one's talking. It's quiet, quiet as a mouse. And then after a couple of hours, boom, maybe we start talking about what we need to do when we get there. You know, and I'm wondering, does that count? Is that what you mean by suppressed emotions, or is it something deeper? You know, man, I socialized this way.
So let me start by explaining something. It has a lot to do with vulnerability. Okay. That is maybe part of the process that you wake up early, okay, and everybody's a bit, and everybody's trying to gather their thoughts around everything. That has to do maybe with preparation, but expressing and suppressing has to do with a lot of vulnerability. So, as we mentioned before in our last meeting, most men from a very young age are conditioned to suppress emotions by society or and social norms. Let's just call it like that. This often is linked with vulnerability and weakness. Weakness, so vulnerability is seen as weakness, right? I'll explain a little bit about women since I'm a woman. Women, on the other hand, um, although encouraged, they are encouraged to express emotions. They are judged about being too assertive or being angry and stuff like that. And that leads them to also many times suppress. So, to help both men and women, okay, they need to break through this resistance. And how do we break through this resistance? We need to first challenge mental blocks, like expressions like, I'm fine, all good,
Hmm.
or it's in the past, or I've dealt with it, or it didn't affect me, are simply barriers. They are barriers that we put to emotional expression. Okay. We'd encourage self reflection and create opportunities in safe spaces to for people to become emotionally vulnerable. All right. The
So what's a
other
safe
thing,
space? What's I mean, on your own at your own place or something? If you go to somebody else's place, it's not a safe space, or what do you mean?
okay, what we say about a safe space is that intimate space between two people, like a Zoom call, a one-on-one call, is a space like that. All right. Now that most of us are on Zoom, right? This is the first example. I work online most of the time. um, in my home with my family, if my daughter wants to tell me something
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
her and me, that's a safe space. There's no judgment. Okay. There is confidentiality. in that safe space. That is very important. We sign confidentiality with all our clients. All right. Um, Nothing we say in that room goes outside. That is very important because most people think that fear talking about and expressing their emotions is they fear that there is no confidentiality. They fear that they're being judged. So creating that safe space, having a one-on-one on person, that usually happens in a safe environment, the coaches or the therapist office.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that is a safe space. But a safe space is beyond the space, the physical or the online space. The safe space is that where there is no judgment, confidentiality, uh, um, holding the space for expression. That is what we call a safe space. Okay.
Okay.
Another thing that we can do is reframe vulnerability as strength. As we mentioned, that vulnerability isn't a weakness. It is actually a form of personal power. Acknowledging emotions leads you to growth, resilience, and self awareness, right? And it helps you also build authentic connections with people. When we are not vulnerable, we can't express our emotions. We can't build authentic connections with people, right? So, by being emotionally open, we literally get stronger. Both men and women can benefit from such a thing, and seeing vulnerability as a valuable um, tool for emotional expression and emotional being and authentic relationships. So
This
addressing
is.
social so
I'm
addressing
sorry.
social conditioning helps us face the mental blocks. So when we go back to our history and we see how we were conditioned, that helps us. Okay, that became a mental block in our mind. And by reshaping how we see vulnerability, that will empower everyone to express their emotions, engaging in healthier emotional practices and building authentic relationships with people, whether at home and in our friendships or at the workplace.
Yeah. You were talking about the history, sort of how we were socialized around vulnerability, and guys, at least people in the military. I mean, I don't want to say horrific, but I remember being pressed several times. During let's say for example, you do everything you need to do to be an emotional coach or something like that, and maybe you have a personal qualification standard. You go do some things that take you several months to do it, and all this kind of stuff. Now you think you're ready. It's signed off. Now you have to have what we in the military we have boards. So there might be three people on your board. Some senior guy, somebody from here, somebody, and so there's three against one. And so you're in the board, and they're asking you different questions. And some of them are quick ones, and then some of them are like, oh, this scenario, and if you're going for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and you're pretty much kind of answering them, you're doing well. But if right off the bat you start having problems, right, the board's going south. And I remember being in some boards where the commander slammed his hand on the desk. Look, I'll ask the questions, and I want you to I don't want to use the S word, out the answer, right? And it's stressful. This is so you don't have that opportunity to be like emotional. Oh, you feel stressed? You feel stressed? So what's going to happen when you actually get out there, and have to do this job? And so, you know what I mean? I don't know, man, in military, you don't necessarily express. I don't even know if I'm trying. I don't even know if I'm expressing it right, but you get what I mean,
I understand you.
guys. Guys,
I
we
completely
can't we can't
understand.
go back. We can't go back and get that.
But we can move forward. Yet we can move forward. Okay, that's in the past. And emotional expression is actually something that is programmed in us, the lack of emotional expression is something that's programmed in us since childhood. Like, for example, take a little boy that is 2 years, 3 years old, okay? And he comes crying. And what's the first thing that happened? I've seen that happen a lot. You're a big boy, you don't cry, be strong, okay? He's a child.
Yeah.
And you're a man, you don't cry. Men don't cry. And
Right.
that's why
Right.
we get all these diseases. Even women nowadays, hold back your emotions. Don't express everything. Yes, I understand you don't express everything to everybody, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
important to express. Even women now, we in certain spaces. So I read a very interesting thing that thoughts and emotions are very private. You should keep them to yourself. And that was
Okay.
like, this is exactly what expressing emotions looks like. And again, I say, that doesn't mean that everybody you meet, you tell them what your thoughts and emotions
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
That's not the point. But you
Yeah.
have these safe spaces where you can be vulnerable and express these emotions. But it needs to take also willingness from you to do the work, willingness from you to to kind of encourage yourself and challenge yourself to get out of your comfort zone and to transform those um, limiting beliefs or social conditioning or programming that we were brought up with.
This is kind of the third uh, segment that we're talking around. So, what does that look like? I think we are actually talking about what that looks like, right? We are we are talking about what that looks like to actually overcome, these emotional barriers, right? I mean, in one sense, right? That's what we're doing, right? Kind of talking
Yeah, we're
about that.
doing that. Yeah,
What
we
does
need
that
to
look
get out
like?
of
What does that look
what it
like?
looks like is that we need to get out of our own way. Okay. So this is your comfort zone. Okay. For someone that has been conditioned to stay in that comfort zone and not express emotions, it's challenging to get out of it.
Right?
Can be a bit tough. What? You want me to express my emotions? But they hurt. They hurt. I hear it all the time. Acknowledging these emotions hurt, so I don't want to speak about them.
Okay.
And that
Fair,
is why,
isn't it? That's fair, isn't it?
how is it fair if it's going to create toxicity in your body?
Either way, it's going to hurt.
So better go through the pain of getting out of your comfort zone and facing those emotions and healing from them and letting them go, or just keep them in there and they will affect your body and create toxicity and disease. That
Okay,
is what this one is
let
all about.
let's think about that for a minute.
Take your time.
So we're gonna we are grappling with holding it in because I don't want to I don't know if I'm saying it's too scary or it's too emotional or it hurts. So we're grappling with this, and we need something to make it happen. In I would say that uh, we're going to keep doing the same thing we've been doing, unless I mean, because you mentioned a lot of tools and things. Obviously, we wouldn't know all that. You know, I can appreciate a lot of things you mentioned. Right, there are a lot of things there. So obviously, we wouldn't know all that. I guess that's one of the reasons why we should reach out. Yeah, reach out to someone.
There's there's something that I've noticed very frequently that people would rather live
Hmm.
in the, avoid the pain. People would rather live in physical pain than go through the pain of emotional healing.
Hmm.
This is something I've noticed a lot in my communication with people. it takes a while for them to grasp this. So I have, for example, remember the migraines I talk about?
Yeah, before in the first episode,
Yeah,
episode 4, wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. The first time we spoke. So what happens is that before I became before I became aware of emotional medicine, I'm not usually a medicine person. I don't like taking lots of medication unless
Okay.
when it's necessary. There was this one red pill that you get at the pharmacy. It's also called something emigrin or emigren or something. It's a little red pill that you take it, it releases it. That's the only thing I knew to do. When I joined emotional medicine and started practicing it on myself, when I read through the emotions that cause a migraine, it had a lot to do with my experiences from the past.
Okay.
And some of them were painful. But if I didn't have the willingness to
Mm-hmm.
go through that pain of facing those emotions, my migraines would still be going on up to this day.
When's the last time you had one?
Um, I still have like minor ones that last for a bit. I don't even need to take medications for them anymore.
Okay.
So I had a little bit of tension happening in my week last week. So I felt
Hopefully,
like,
I didn't cause that by asking you all these questions.
no, 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 you didn't. No, no. So I had this tiny sensation of this migraine happening here. And I acknowledged it and I acknowledged its attention that I'm going through with the situation.
Okay.
And just by acknowledging that, it subsided. I don't take any medication for my migraines, but it doesn't come like as I mentioned the last time, 4 days that I have to literally go take medication for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're about running out of time here. We've been here a while. We've got lots of helpful tips. I'm gonna try and grab all these from this part two. I'm gonna put them in when I actually post this, and I'm gonna actually put a link to the website too, where these things will be written out. So I'll do
Mhm.
that. I'm gonna make an audio file as well. And so this is maybe a call to action. I don't know if we'll get to do this again. There are things we didn't even talk about. I thought we would get through them, but so many things, so many tips,
You
right?
know,
So,
there is so much about this topic that we can explore. It's a beautiful topic, and I can't, there's so many little side tracking that can happen with it that if we want, we'll have to have like an hours of sessions.
so what
Like
do
it's
you like? What's a coaching session? I mean, how do they get in touch with you, and what is that about? Like, how long does that take a coaching session? It depends, I guess, right?
yeah, it depends, but a coaching session, or you mean a discovery call?
A program. How do you what do you call it? I mean, first there's okay discovery.
You
Is
mean
it
our 8 week intensive and then the one-on-ones and stuff like that?
okay? So you have okay. So what I know is a lot of times maybe you'll get a consult from somebody. Hey, I have this problem. Oh, I know someone, and then you get a consult.
Mhm.
And the consult may cost you, whatever. Like a lawyer may be so many
Mhm.
per hour, and it's a half an hour session. So you go to the consult and then follow on something like that. Is this how this
Yeah,
works?
yeah, that's exactly how it goes. First, you book what we call a discovery call or a consult, and in this, we'll just explore one condition that you're going through, trying, to build that trust, and we go through a few things, maybe then a follow up to that you agree, and what is the next step to take, and that will be all explained. That's the first step to book a discovery call.
Okay, I'll try to make sure we get all these links
Yeah.
done.
Yeah,
And
it's mainly through my LinkedIn and mainly through that, or you have my information, you can give them my information.
okay, so we've been talking some heavy stuff. How about we lighten it up a little bit? I'm gonna call this a quick fire fun round. I'll just
Cool.
ask I'll just ask you maybe a question. It could be a yes or no, and let's just see how that goes, right? So, how about this? What's the biggest myth about emotional healing?
So the biggest myth ever about emotional healing, that it's a quick fix.
Of course, it's not, right? Wouldn't that be nice,
Yeah,
right?
so just to add to that, it's a healing is a process. Emotional healing is a process. And I believe healing itself is a lifelong journey because things happen all the time. It's not an event. It's not a quick fix. Absolutely
Okay,
not.
okay. Another quick fire here. What's one small habit that can transform emotional health?
So I would say daily mindfulness and or gratitude practices.
Yeah, the gratitude. I like that one. If we can remember to do it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, make it as part of your morning routine. That's all it takes.
okay. And last one, right? One piece of advice you wish everyone knew.
You don't have to do it all by yourself.
Yeah,
Having support, having support is very important. One-on-one coaching, community support groups. You don't have to do it by yourself. I would like to add something to that if it's possible. I know it's a quick question. No matter how we believe we know ourselves, there's something called blind spots.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so blind spots are the patterns, the behaviors, and the emotions that we are not fully aware of that live in our subconscious, so deep inside, that can sometimes stem all the way from childhood.
yeah, yeah.
With coaching and with group support, you can actually reach to these blind spots that can actually be a core element to your healing.
Some of my blind spots I may not want to see.
Well, you know, that's all fear based, and fear is not a rational thing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, that's about all the time we have. We could probably do this forever. Thank you again, Sarah, for being here again and sharing your expertise. For our listeners, if you want to learn more about emotional medicine, how it can transform you, your leadership, visit the website. I'll make that available. Join us next time on Dr. Bill 360 for more insights. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and here's to your 360-degree transformation. And that's a wrap. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button